Hello and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk. I'm back, Coach Kevin Bull Jones. I got my friends with me today, you all, and we're gonna talk about some football. It's gonna be quick, fast, in a hurry. So sit down, relax, go ahead and kick your feet up because it's gonna be pretty good. I got some dear friends here with me. I'm gonna start up to my right or left, should I say. And it's going to be Coach Joel Williams down in Miami at Pace Academy. Joel was also instrumental at Miami Norland, winning the state championship back in the day. Yeah, I got it right this time. Also, he spent some awesome time with me up here in Metro Atlanta back in the days at Columbia High School as defensive coordinator. Down in Catacorner, down in the bottom, the man, the myth, the legend, college football talk with Jonathan Lewis. Sports fans, I learned so much from this guy so quickly, man. It is a true blessing just be around him, hear him talk. You talk about analytics, he knows it. It's popping out his brain. He's gonna give it to you tonight. And then down below me, the man that holds the fort down in Metro Atlanta as well as Georgia when it comes to things involving kids, recruiting, coaching, coaches, tutoring, and role model examples of what to do. Also a former coach and now big time administrator, but more importantly, the president of the Minority Coach Association of Georgia, Ahmad Tinker. Glad to see you, brother.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, you can. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. Now, I'll start with this whistle. Tink, since the last time you've been on this show, if you've been watching, I'm just gonna tell you, I got this whistle when coaches give these politically correct answers. I blow the goddamn whistle because that's not what the fans want. And everybody that knows Ahmad Tinker knows that he is straight, no chaser. Okay, and then I got you the man from the podcast side, Jonathan Lewis, who's straight, no chaser, and gonna give his opinion. Then I got Southside. So I shouldn't have to blow my whistle on anything today. Everybody got that. We're gonna rock and roll. We're gonna talk about what's going on with college football today and everything exciting day. And even there's so much we're gonna hit a little bit. And then we still know there's still early signing day and stuff is still going on. But gentlemen, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, listen, we're gonna start hot and heavy. Jonathan, I'm gonna start with you because I just have to do that because you're my brother from another mother on this podcast stuff. And I just want to say, we're gonna jump it off with what everybody in the country is talking about. Okay, so I'm gonna start with you. Your thoughts on primetime taking the number one kid in the nation. I want your thoughts, your real thoughts. Then we're gonna hit you, Pink, and then we're gonna follow it with you, Joel. Go ahead.
All right, so I want to give you a two-part answer to this, and some people may not like this answer. I starting right away. I'm letting you know right now. It's amazing that Hunter went to Jackson State, HBCU, right? It's going to elevate the entire program. It's going to elevate the entire culture. I know Deion's sons transferred over there, obviously, last year. I can't remember where from, but either way. And then this side I don't like talking about. How, in my opinion, the NIL is bringing down signing day. Because this all was constructed from a Barstool Sports, let's be real, NIL side that supported a $1.5 million signing to bring this kid in. That's just what it is. People can beat around the bush all they want, but at the end of the day, it comes down to money. But this was the smartest thing Deion could have ever done because he's going to bring awareness. He's already filling the stands at Jackson State, 40,000 every Saturday or whatever day they're playing that week, obviously. Now, the biggest question to me is, with Deion bringing so much attention to this program now, bringing in the number one recruit, he didn't just play corner, right? He played multiple positions. How long does he stay there to support these kids coming in? And will they transfer with him out? Because we all know Deion's on a time clock now. He's going to be brought up by somebody else. He already said he wanted the FSU job. They turned him down. He went to Jackson State, and he's going to prove his point. The question now is, how long does he sit there? But this is a culture change. It's big time. Hunter going there. That's just my answer to it.
Wow. Straight no chaser right here on 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk. Yeah, you just heard from Jonathan Lewis from his own podcast. You can follow that. We have it scrolled down the bottom so you can follow and subscribe to him, the College Football with Jonathan Lewis. All right, Tate. It's your turn. I'm passing the mic to you. It's time for you to jump in that water with us real quick. What's your thoughts?
Hey, look, it's all about the money. I mean, we can sit here and we can say Deion is a great recruiter. I mean, we can even nowadays say all these guys are great recruiters. Even in the past, nobody was a great recruiter. It was all about the brown bag. Now it's legal. Now it's legal to put the brown bag on the table. So, I mean, I commend Deion. I commend Travis Hunter because at the end of the day, these kids, a lot of these kids are coming from economic disadvantage situation. It's about the money because a lot of these kids, at the end of the day, they want to take care of mom Dukes. I mean, they want to take care of their mama. We can say family, but it's their mama. $1.5 million. If he didn't take it, I would have had a problem with Travis Hunter. Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest because I mean, you got to go get. I mean, because if he don't do anything else, whether he go down there, he don't produce jacks that he get hurt. If he invests his money right at $1.5 million, he's gonna be filthy rich for the rest of his life. So, end of the day, it's all about the money. I mean, think about it. Lane Kiffin said it best the other day. Whoever got the most money gonna get these kids. So what he said, Deion just proved right. 1.5 million, he got the #1 recruit in the country to come to Jackson State. End of the day, if you've been to Jackson, Mississippi, Lord no.
Oh man, hey, well said, Tink. Wow, because I've been to Jackson, Mississippi. I've been to Mississippi. Woo. Okay, so with that being said, I'm gonna set it up and pass it to you now, Joel. And here's what I want to say, Coach. All them years of Luke Campbell and Two Live Crew and what he did at the U back in the day, you down there right in the heart of Liberty City, South Beach. You're around all of that. You're around all of that. So now all of a sudden, give me your thoughts, because now it seems like what he did 30 years ago is okay.
It's legal now, baby. It's legal now. The checkbook is open. Everybody, the Shapiros are now back down there in Coral Gables, and the money bag is rolling. I wasn't really following this story too much about the Hunter kid from Collins Hill, but I will tell you this: how long does the kid stay? I mean, does he just do his time in service and try to get to the league, or did he just walk with the bag, like Coach said, and set up his family for the rest of their lives? I mean, that's big money, my brother. That's big money. Now you don't have to meet at the local barbershop and drop off the bag, because that's what we do in the hood. You'll have the street recruiter come, and the kid will come, and the dad or the mom will come, and they'll leave the bag with the barber, and the barber will give the bag to him, and everybody. And this is all on a will. It's an if. Will he? Hopefully he will. But this kid, I tell you, it's a phenomenal deal. If I was a kid's dad, I'd be like, all right, let's go. Let's go Jackson State.
And what about the fact that he got him from FSU? He stole them from FSU.
But
so they didn't have a big enough pocket.
That wasn't too hard to do. That wasn't too hard to do, because a lot of if you really look at it, a lot of FSU's guys they had on their board as #1 and 2s, a lot of those kids were able to be flipped. And for nothing said about the program itself. And my guy is there, Randy Shannon, who I went to high school with. He's there. He's the new linebacker coach there, and he's a hell of a recruiter in his own right. But at the end of the day, I mean, money talks, and you know what else walks.
Wow. My spin on it, guys, and it's funny that I didn't even know about I just saw it like everybody else. But Jonathan, I've been talking about it on your show for a couple of weeks now. That it started with Spencer Ratcliffe.
Yeah. Yep.
There's some stuff that he already had a package on, some stuff that behind the scenes, these boosters, the actual boosters of the actual universities, and I found this out today. I can't reveal my sources because then I can't tell, but I won't tell what it said. What was said is when they have the LLC, it has to be more than one booster in the LLC, and they can turn around and sign the kid at the perspective that their schools. So as I was hearing this today, and Tick, we got to come to you about what's going on at Auburn. So just hold on a second, because I'm just buzzing with it. It's oozing out my mouth. But this whole deal, I'd said it started with Spencer Ratcliffe, because he didn't look like he had a care in the world when he was on them sidelines when he got benched when Caleb Williams came in the game. Now, whether that's the kid's personality or not, but I had gotten some senses from some other kids that I know that are in school that were just telling me stories about Coach. You know, the boosters that they are controlling where these kids are going and how it's going to work out, and they're setting everything up. So all the kids got to do is just announce he's in the portal, but everything is already taken care of. So that's my part on it. I just, you know, I want to see kids be successful because I remember them days of, you know, you don't have enough to eat, and, you know, kids making bad decisions, you know, and so much, and then they sign, and then their coaches leave right after signing day. They can't go nowhere. You know, you can't give them a ride home. You can't feed them. You can't do any of that stuff. So now it just looked like what Luther Campbell was doing 30 years ago. Now all of a sudden it's legal. I'm trying to figure out what the heck happened.
Yep.
You know, how the bus got missed, but, you know, I guess the threat of everybody leaving, Power 5 leaving out, make everybody jump. But that leads me back to my next question, and I want to start with you, Tink, because I just want to know, and I know the vast experience of so many, you know, you are one individual on the face of this earth that is not a college coach, but every college coach has to know you somehow, some way. And I ain't bragging because you on the show. I'm just giving you flowers while you're here because of what you do for helping kids and coaches of all shapes and sizes and colors and creeds get into this coaching stuff. So I know what you do behind the scenes and out front. So you have a lot of conversations with coaches. Tell me your heartbeat on what's going on at Georgia, what's going on at Auburn. Let's start with Auburn first because, you know, that's just right around the corner from you. But what's going on with Auburn?
Well, I mean, I think they're going to do a good job at Auburn in the whole. But when you look at Auburn, I mean, you know, they went out. I mean, listen, at AD Green, he went out on a limb and he hired a coach that had no Southeastern ties, no experience. And I'm going to be honest, I thought the staff was not very well put together to recruit the Southeast. Okay, I think there's some great coaches. But the big thing about being the SEC, everybody knows you got to recruit your tail off in the Southeastern Conference. If you don't, he who shall not recruit shall lose. Okay, so I think from a standpoint, I think that they are struggling. They are struggling to recruit.
Yeah, I think that's you, Coach Joel. That's your music.
Okay,
go ahead, Tate.
No, that was something.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Tate.
But I think they got to do a better job recruiting the Southeast. And I'm not going to sugarcoat the bottom line. You know, it was a decision where they let one coach go, the receiver coach go. Cornelius Williams, who had tremendous ties to the state of Alabama. He was well liked in the state of Georgia. When they let him go, that was a black eye. That was strike number one. Unfortunately, me and Tank Bigsby, we're from the same hometown. Okay, I live 20 minutes from there. Don't think that his deal is gonna come out in the next few days. I know what the number is. That deal is about to come out because he got paid to stay, baby. Okay, yep. He got paid to stay. 1.5 is a good number. That ain't the number, baby. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, you mean for the 1.5 for who now again?
That 1.5 that Travis Hunter got, his deal is a little bit bigger than that. His deal a little bit bigger than Auburn, okay? Georgia gonna be Georgia, baby. You know, Georgia's gonna be Georgia. Everybody wanna go to Georgia because Georgia is producing a lot of pro players. I will say that I had the opportunity to speak to a new head coach in the SEC this week, Monday. They are hiring a team of lawyers to establish NIL deals. So the university is hiring a team of lawyers. So they're about to get NIL for every player committed on the team. I think it's going to change the game. And actually, the head guy wrote the law for the state. Y'all figure out what university that is and figure out what state it is. I'm going to leave it at
that. Oh, my God. Woo, that's hot, man. Joel, we're going to go to you, and we're going to let you close the door on that. Jonathan, that's big. Take Coach. Take that's big. Take that's heavy right there. Woo! Go ahead, Joel. Your thoughts on Auburn and
Well,
Georgia?
the sun is shining in Miami again. It's shining, baby. And I'm gonna tell you something, baby. Watch out for them Canes.
Oh.
As I go, and I'm talking to the coach now. You're an Auburn guy, but Miami stole your bookend today. We stole Najee Kelly from you.
Oh,
4-star, big time bookend coming out of Dillard High School. We got him and a host of 3 and 4-star. We addressed the back 7 with the cornerbacks and stuff and safeties. We got us a nice linebacker out of Central. And on top of that, one of those DBs that comes out of Georgia, Coach, I don't know much about him. What can you tell me about Jaden Harris from Riverwood?
That's
that's Robert Edwards. Robert Edwards player. He good player. Good player now, but understand. I'm gonna say he's a good player. I'm gonna leave it there right now. Because if he got out of the state of Georgia, wait a minute now. Wait a minute now.
You got to go.
We were able to sign 2 of your babies today. We got the boy out of Lowndes County, Corey Brown now.
Woo!
Yes.
Well, it goes to what Tink is saying about Harrison not being able to. You got, just like you said, Tink. You open it up with it. You got to be able to recruit Georgia and Miami. You got to be able to do that, and you said that. So that just proves, and talking about these kids that were either they were one committed to Auburn and they got flipped, whatever the case may be. Because I'm feeling a certain way about Cornelius Williams going through what a hell of a coach, hell of a man, hell of a family man, and earned his stripes. And to be treated like that on the sidelines over some stuff during the game against Georgia State, as a matter of fact. Oh, yeah, I know what game it was. Okay, but for him to be sent out like that, okay, and just not understanding how much ties that he had to Metro Atlanta and South and North Georgia, to be gone like that, it's going to hurt you. And I'm going to go ahead and say it, because it goes back to exactly what you just said, Take. Joel is talking about these kids that are getting flipped, and somebody need to do their homework, because you ain't gonna be there for long.
Right.
Jonathan, I'm ready for you, Jonathan. Go ahead and give me your thoughts on Auburn, because now I hear Tank is not leaving. Is staying.
He's not. So
wonder what made him stay.
Let me be honest with some. I overreacted to when I saw it immediately. I'm like, Bo Nix and Tank's gone. Like, what is going on with Brian Harsin and the staff internally? Obviously, I don't know the deal between Bo Nix clearly and Brian Harsin. Tank staying because, like he alluded to, I wasn't aware it was going to be a deal like that. I imagine there was something backdoor in the works to keep him there. But I will say this: when it comes down to it, like I said before, I'm heavy into recruiting. I had Auburn on my winning side when it comes to recruiting in the early signing period. They finished 14th today. With what went down this year at Auburn, I honestly didn't have them in the top 20. So I think at the end of the day, I have Auburn as a winner in my opinion on the signing day. I like Robert Woodyard. I like the guys they picked up. I can't speak too much into specifics about who got flipped where. I knew the one kid coming out of, was it Atlanta that went down to Miami that was in Georgia? Was it him? Yeah. Okay. So that's what we're alluding to. Yeah, there we go. So I did not have him pegged to Miami. I don't know how much that is involving Mario Cristobal and obviously the staff he has down there. I'm a huge Mario Cristobal fan, by the way. I have been since he was at Alabama and even before then. But I really don't have much to speak on other than the specifics of the recruits themselves. I just had, like I said, Auburn is a big winner on the early signing period, in my opinion, today. So that's it.
What about Georgia? What do you think about Georgia and their coaching situation? Look, that was the second part of that. Because I think another coach is leaving, but go ahead.
How long have I been saying already that Dan Lanning's out the door? I've been saying this for over half the season. I said the dude's going to be gone. Dan Lanning was never all in on Georgia. And it was just my opinion. You saw him. You heard rumblings throughout the staff. Will Muschamp was at one time in an analyst position. Now he moves up to co-defensive coordinator. I thought, honestly, that Dan Lanning was waiting for a position to open that he would like. Did I pick it to be Oregon? Not really. But if you look at the staff that Mario Cristobal put in place up there at Oregon and the scheme they got running, it matches identically. really, when it comes down to it. So, and as far as recruiting goes, Georgia's got a lot of money. Alabama has a lot of money. That's just, and people want to talk about these NIL deals and how it's going to help teams like Jackson State, which it will in the smaller schools. But at the same time, don't the rich just get richer? I mean, at the same time, look at Texas. Texas A&M right now is the number one recruiting class after the early signing period. They have a lot of oil money down there. So just saying, things are shifting around a little bit too much. To even point to more of this, Kentucky is 12th in recruiting right now. 12th.
Well, they got money out there with them horses are.
Apparently, I'm when I look at my winners list. So let's see. Let me just tell you what I'm talking about here. As far as winners, and I put winners because I feel like this has a lot to do with money. Obviously, Kentucky, Auburn at 14, just because of the situation. Texas, Arkansas at 19, Missouri is 11th. Missouri. So, and then you have Tennessee at 13. By the way, 12 out of the 14 SEC teams are in the top 25. 12 out of 14. So it's all about the greenback. I'm telling you. Like you said, it's just you don't have to hide your money bag anymore. Yeah. So that's what it comes down to, in my opinion.
Well, the next thing I want to ask you guys is when I watch what's going on with this whole coaching carousel, and Tink, you alluded to it perfectly about, just Auburn's situation. And then they turn around and hire a guy as OC recently that doesn't have a lot of collegiate ties, and how is he going to come into Atlanta and recruit a kid against Kirby Smart, against Lane Kiffin? I don't think, and I hate to say it, but I hope but this is me saying it, so it's not you, Tate, because I know you got to talk to these guys every other day, and they got to learn how to pick up your phone call, which I know that they know now. Everybody know. I don't know if Harrison knows that yet, but everybody else know they better pick up. They better answer your phone call. But how do you keep that job? Because I've heard rumblings that he was the AD's pick. So if he wasn't the booster's pick, and he's letting go people that have ties to Georgia recruiting, how does Auburn keep Tank, the running back, but let Nix go? How does that happen? I want to bring that back to you, Tank, and then I want to go to you, Jonathan, and then you, Joel.
Hey, well, look, Auburn is still Auburn now. I mean, nobody gonna run from Auburn. Okay. I mean, it's not like Auburn is Vanderbilt or there's some school that's not known. So, I mean, kids are gonna want to play Auburn. And I give you prime example. Like you take, they had a good recruiting class. Why wouldn't it? Everybody leaving. They had bad talent. Young guys gonna say, I can go there and play right now. Well, they know that if I go places like Georgia, Alabama, I'm either not going to play or I'm going to be in a sub situation. So I'm going to roll them or be in packages. So these young guys, they're entitled. They want things now. They want to play now because all of them know if I play, I produce, it improves my NIL deal. It equals more money. Okay. It gives me more exposure for the opportunity to possibly increase my draft status. Bottom line. I mean, so, that's what I truly believe, that regardless of who Auburn hired, they're still freaking Auburn.
Okay, that's well said. I would grab that. What do you think on that, Jonathan?
Yeah, 100%. At the end of the day, like you said, obviously Auburn is not Vanderbilt or nobody, and at this point, I don't know really what to take from it because the NIL, in my opinion, has changed so much of the landscape of not just recruiting, but even the coaching staff. Because let's be real here, at the end of the day, the boosters are going to be who controls. You know what I mean? Who's in control, who the assistants are, who the head coaches are. In my opinion, that's just from what I've seen. Perfect example is Texas. I've criticized Texas all these years because the boosters run the program, not the head coach, which is why I'm so worried about Steve Sarkisian going to Texas. I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work out because this he's not a people person. That's why I said Dan Mullen was going to fail the moment he went to Florida. Dan Mullen, and like Ahmad said, you have to be able to recruit. Dan Mullen can't recruit. He never was able to recruit. So it was a setup for failure right from the beginning, in my opinion, from that. But that's all I really got to say on it. At the end of the day, it comes back around to the same thing. It's money. And like you said, Auburn is Auburn. You're going to have the legacy kids that show up no matter what. Same thing with Alabama. Same thing, you know what I mean, with all these programs. It's just a matter of everybody else starting to adjust to the NIL being unregulated. And, of course, they said for 3 years, and then the NCAA is going to start regulating after 3 years. So how is that going to look? We got a lot of changes coming. So
I agree with you on that. All right, Coach Joel, your thoughts on that same process, but I want to give a little spin on yours that the other coach and Jonathan, and they're gonna get a spin on, because your situation is a little different down there, because Manny Diaz was shown the door, a hostile takeover. Do you think that was NIL boosters? What do you think? What are the streets saying down there?
Well, what the streets are saying, what the streets said rather, we were just tired. I think what really did it for us down here was losing to FSU. The way we did, we showed so much promise. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody knows that Manny is a super recruiter. He is an awesome recruiter. Not knowing really how sure Cristobal is, but Manny is definitely a super recruiter. And folks are just getting tired. I mean, we weren't doing very good. And another thing, I'm sorry, let me take this back. It was also sick that we actually lost to FIU under Manny's watch, and that was a big deal. And the thing about it, though, I really because we're still human beings, I don't like the way the university did it. I mean, you're out there working and trying to get kids to come to this university, and in the back of your mind, you're like, am I going to be fired when the phone rings? I mean, what's going on? And then I'm glad he landed the job that he did. But more than that, Jonathan alluded to something about Muschamp at Georgia. Now, I'm wondering, because T-Rob, as you know, Jonathan, that him and Muschamp are like this. That's his guy. Muschamp, T-Rob is Muschamp's guy. Does T-Rob jump ship from Miami and go to Georgia and take care of the back seven? I don't know. It just remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Well, that led to something. Tink, I want you to go. I want you to hit that one off. We feed into that, and then Jonathan, you clean it up. You batting third on this one. Go ahead, Tink.
Well, it really depends on right now. You know, everybody talking about the Georgia DB coach going to Oklahoma with Lanning. So I think that's going to be the telltale. If he goes to Oklahoma, T-Rod comes in because he already knows the system. So it's an easy fit for him to either fit in. But on the flip side, even with that, I mean, you still got a DA out there too, because it's a system. All them guys in the system, from all them guys in that saving system who know that back end.
Derek Ansley is who you're talking about?
Yeah, DA. Yeah, so that could be. So it's so many things, but it really depends on what the DB coach does, because Muschamp can plug in anywhere. Anywhere except D-line and coach. He can plug in from the inside to the outside to the safety coach. But if a DB coach moves to Oklahoma, which has been floating around for a while, then I could see T-Rock. I could see T-Rock coming in. Could definitely see that.
Wow. Your thoughts, Jonathan?
It's literally exactly what Ahmad just said. It's identical. It's the same situation. Look, when one person moves now, everything's so interconnected. Like I said, I thought the biggest piece moving was going to be where Lincoln Riley went. Did I see him going to USC? No. But then seeing Venables fall to Oklahoma, it was like a domino effect, right? You saw these assistants start moving around. And once again, this is why I brought it up a couple months ago. I said, when Lanning leaves, this is going to create more of a situation than what people realize, because everybody, just like Coach Williams said, is connected. And especially inside of Georgia on the back end. Right. So it's not going to be one piece moving here, in my opinion. I think we're far from this coaching carousel even being done. Like Notre Dame was probably the easiest fit, just bringing up Marcus Freeman. Everybody else, it's just going to create more chaos at the end of the day. Because, I mean, I have a list I had a list of coaches that moved. Here we go. And, like, it just astounds me that I look at this list and I'm looking at 10 coaches and I'm not even halfway down the list yet, and there's still more to plug in. Right. Wow. So this is far from over. I think Mario Cristobal's got a long ways to go. He's going to bring in more. I think T-Rob could be one of those guys. I think you could be looking at a couple more fellas that I'm going to do some research on as well. But either way, yeah, no, pretty much what Ahmad said.
Well, guys, that leads me to think about, when I think about that situation with Georgia, I personally believe this, T-Rob, whoever's leaving at Georgia, I think there's more than one coach off that staff that's leaving. I think there's somebody else coming down the pipeline. Maybe not this cycle over. Maybe something after, maybe something after the second signing day. But there's a possibility that there's somebody else off that staff that's going to get purged. And how do you say no? How do you say no if the money's there and the opportunity is there and that they can intertwine? What can you say? Thoughts on what has happened at Georgia Tech? Now you see that Tashard Choice, is no longer there and gone, and those backs left. The running backs went into the transfer portal. What are your thoughts on that? I want to start with you, Tink, and then I want to go to you, Jonathan, then you, Coach Joel.
Well, honestly, I think it's when you're in the ocean and the ship is sinking, everybody start jumping off.
Yeah.
And I just think it's, I think it's a point where everybody knows that. I love Jeff Cotton to death, great guy, but at the end of the day, it's what you produce on Saturday on that field when that clock hits 0-0. Everybody knows he has probably a year left, and then his buyout is going to be at a point where they can buy him out. And I think guys are jumping. So, even from a coach's standpoint, if I was a coach on the staff, I would probably jump too, because if not, you'll be looking for a job next year when the market is not as good, because it's so much movement right now. And I know TC has some relationship with Lincoln. So at the end of the day, because both of them played at Oklahoma.
Correct.
So, you got to take care of your family first and foremost.
Right.
That's what it comes down to, because those head coaches are going to take care of the family. And when you get fired, the buyout don't say that buyout for the assistant coach ain't the same as the head coach. By
far.
So you better take care of yourself, and you better say, hey, man overboard and get going while you can. Bottom line.
Wow. Jonathan, your thoughts on that one?
I can't speak too much on that. I'll be honest with you, I'm not too involved in the Georgia Tech situation. I can tell you this much: Clemson's in no better position here with Venables gone, Tony Elliott gone. And by the way, the overlooking of their AD going down to Miami should not be overlooked with this as well. And you're talking about jumping ship. Clemson is 16th in recruiting right now and falling. Everybody jumping ship on that program. I'm sure Georgia Tech, they're in a similar situation. If not, it's going to be soon. It's going to be the same thing. So, yeah, that's all I got to say on that.
Your thoughts on that one, Joel?
Same here. You got to take care of home. And when you don't feel loved, you cheat. You go out. You find something else better. And I'm just feeling that's what those guys were doing and thinking about. At the end of the day, you got to want somebody who wants you too. So, and like Don, I'm not really that familiar with the Georgia Tech situation, but from what I have heard, it was just a matter of time.
Yeah,
just a matter of time.
Well, I to piggyback on what all three of you have said, one thing, and Tink, I'm kind of going with this. The affinity. Listen, in the coaching circles in Metro Atlanta, there are a lot of people that are coaching that. Some of them played on that national championship team at Georgia Tech. And there's always been, since Paul Johnson got to Georgia Tech, there has been a breaking of a, that connection with former players from Georgia Tech being able to be on that staff and better numbers. I will say they handpicked a few, but I'm talking about the guys that came back from them that national championship time, and the guys, and then some of those guys became successful coaches here in the Metro Atlanta and North Georgia area. And it's just amazing how those guys, it's shunned on for them to be able to get their foot in the door to help what they built down there. And they've been well-established coaches, and to see it not be able to get to that point. Tink, I want you to alleviate a little bit just on what your thoughts are, because you're really the heartbeat of all of us coaches here in this area in Georgia, because you do have to talk to those head guys sometime and you see how this whole thing works out.
But I would still say this, Boo. When you look at Georgia Tech, you got to understand the dynamics of Georgia Tech. I mean, I think Georgia Tech, again, great institution, great education, but Georgia Tech is limited in what the prospects can come in and can major in.
Yeah.
So that's already a negative fault, because think about it. You only got engineering, stuff like business. Look, let's be honest, guy. A lot of these players are going to school. They're majoring in criminal justice. They're majoring in general studies. They're getting these degrees. But you only got so many of them who are saying who they're thinking about the 30-year plan. You know, the majority of them thinking about what's the 3-year plan. How can I get in here, get to the NFL? Because you ask most high school player, middle school kid, what you want to do? What you want to do when you grow up? I want to be a pro football player, pro basketball player. That's what they say. So at the end of the day, that's going to limit who Georgia Tech can get. So I know a lot of times it's on these coaches. I trust me, I get it. But Georgia Tech.
Okay.
If they get a top 20 class, they're a success for me with a top 20 class, because the dynamics are so unique. Yeah. To me, Georgia Tech is played like a Tulane, high academics. Those places like that are very high academics. So it's a tough situation now. But on the flip side, you still in the A, baby. You still in the A. You still supposed to better get some players in the A. And I think that they hurt themselves a little bit by not being able to get those players, keep those players at home. And that was the whole pitch when they came in. Hey, 4-4, the culture. They didn't keep them. They didn't keep the best kids. And when they got Gibbs, great grab. But look at it now. 2 years later, he's out the door. Some of the other guys are out the door. And he knew going in it was going to be a tough fix, because you're going from the triple option and you're trying to be a spread team. Well, you're going to be limited linemen, you're going to be limited receiver, quarterback. He knew it was going to take time. I would say this: if they do get rid of Jeff after 2022, the next coach will be successful, because it won't be a full out rebuild.
Awesome. Yeah. I definitely agree with you. I definitely agree. Okay, so listen, Jonathan, we're gonna hit you. We're gonna go down the Bama road for a minute, see how Bama's doing right about now. And your thoughts on if they're gonna have a purge on their staff of somebody possibly leaving. Bill O'Brien, people like that. What are the streets saying on that?
So, well, a lot of people are saying Bill O'Brien. We all knew when Bill O'Brien showed up to Alabama, he was not going to be there for 9 years like Kirby Smart. We already knew that. Yeah. In my opinion, who I think is going to be the next one taken and deserves to be taken is going to be Holloman Wiggins, the wide receivers coach. That man has recruited his butt off. He's produced top-level talent. And it's easy to say Devontae Smith, Jalen Watt, all these guys, but you didn't watch them prior to getting to Alabama. These guys developed from Holloman Wiggins and that system he has in place. It just amazes me when you watch that dude on a practice field, like him coaching these guys up. Yeah. I personally think Holloman Wiggins will be the next one taken somewhere. I think it's a matter of time. Pete Golden, I don't believe is going anywhere. I don't believe this year Bill O'Brien's going anywhere right now, only because there's so much chaos in this world of the coaching carousel. When things settle down next year, I think that's when you're going to start hearing more rumblings of Bill O'Brien. Pete Golden, everybody's still got their take on that dude, right? Everybody's still clamoring at him, saying, most of the season he's been terrible, or whatever their opinion is on that. But I'm going to keep saying it over and over again. Holloman Wiggins, he's the guy. If you're not paying attention to him, you better. So, but yeah, that's all I got as far as on the coaching staff.
I would second that, because getting a chance to be down there and watch how he works with those guys, and they love him. You can tell when kids love those coaches, man. It's just there's almost like a spiritual bond there, and I definitely agree with that. All right, so Joel, here's the matchup title fight now. Napier, former Saban protege, is now down in Miami. In Florida. So what is Cristobal going to be able to? How this thing going to work out? If you don't know anything about Napier, and I'm not saying you don't, but I'm just letting you know my forward to this is he is a clone of Saban. He is the true clone of Saban. And I mean that with affinity. He's a true clone. So all the other guys that want to act like Saban, that coached under Saban, he's probably more, not with the animation of Kirby, but he is behind the scenes, the nuts and bolts. He is Nick Saban, 2000. So tell
even
me,
more so than Jimbo.
Yeah, more than Jimbo. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And Jonathan, just real quick about Bill O'Brien, we have heard rumblings that he may be in Jacksonville next year with the Jaguars.
See, and what's funny is I wasn't going to bring that up.
Oh!
I wasn't, because I know sometimes people don't want to hear about Urban Meyer wanting to be already out of Jacksonville, but I listened to a lot of podcasts this past week, and it seems like that man is not getting along with anybody in that organization. I don't know about that. I have no connection around that. But all I've heard is this guy has went at it with his players. Now he's going at it with his own administration, his own coaches, people leaving practices. Yeah. So he had 2 receivers just leave practice the other day, like walk out straight up. Yeah. So there's definitely some issues in Jacksonville, but I don't know. If he was going to leave anywhere, Jacksonville would make sense, in my opinion. It just would.
So, Joel, with that being said, how do you think that matches up? Who's going to win Florida? How long is it going to take for Florida to stop having all their best players keep leaving the state? Do you really think it's going to be Cristobal that's going to fix this? Because he's from Miami. He played high school ball down there. Everybody feels like he is the savior. He said it 7-8 years ago that his dream job was University of Miami. So now he's there. Do you think that he's going to be able to shut that down and he's going to dominate Florida like nobody has in the last couple of years?
Like I said, baby, the sun is shining. What we did today, Coach, we may not have got a lot of quantity, but we dang sure signed a lot of quality. I don't know how we rank him right now because I haven't looked at the numbers. I'm not going to look at it until after Friday. But we 60th. Did a heck of a lot of stuff today in terms of recruiting. The only one that we really, really wanted that got away was Earl Little's son. He went to Alabama. He went to Alabama. But we were close. We were close to him. But as far as the Napiers and the Florida State people, we'll be fine because people really, really are believing the energy. The energy down here is crazy. It's crazy. I mean, Mario has established. His first day back, he did his interview, and he was already at the high schools at the practices for the playoff teams. He was there, just getting kids. Bringing the interest, bringing Coral Gables back to the hood, talking to those kids, getting in those faces. It's good. The electricity is good. So I think we'll be fine as it relates to the Floridas and the Florida States and the UCFs, and you got to say the South Floridas as well too. But we'll be fine.
Well, you had a chance to coach here in Georgia, up in the Cobb County area. We were together, and you got a chance to see the Florida. Then you went back down to Florida and got a chance to coach Duke Johnson at Miami Norland. So you've seen the level of play of kids and skill sets and things of that nature. So you got a chance to see it, and I've always just wondered how all these kids from Florida kept leaving the state, going to Louisville, going to Indiana, going all these places up north. When the last time I remember the old saying was Florida kids didn't like the cold. Well, hell, how did all these people get up north then?
Because it's like everybody know, the formula, Coach. Winning is contagious. And when it gets to the point where, as Miami, when you step on the field, you're already up 14-0. Because quite honestly, kids were afraid to play you. They were afraid to play Miami. But now that's not the ticket. You got these programs that have rebirthed, like the Alabamas of late, the freaking Clemsons. Now Clemson's on the down. You just got surgeons everywhere. But we're just trying to bring that spirit back. Where we come out in our camouflage pants and we're just doing it. We're having fun.
Man.
It's not. If you watched any Miami football this year, there was a safety, a true freshman, wore the number 0, James Williams out of American Heritage Plantation.
Okay.
This kid played just with straight athleticism. He wasn't playing the scheme of the defense. It was just straight athleticism. And they got to the point where T-Rob and Manny Diaz, they were actually headbutting because Manny Diaz was afraid to sit down the older guys. And T-Rob was like, we're not winning with these older guys. And that's why you saw the surgence of the young guys and things started to move for us.
Well, I would truly say this, and it has been watching them play, when Coach Rick went down there and just, it just changed. I could not find out what Miami's identity was anymore. And I think that was the thing. But your best players were playing everywhere else. So now when you get down to it, the nitty gritty of it, where Miami is going to show up or are they going to show out? What are they going to do now? Because the cream going to have to rise to the top, baby. That's what it has to be.
What has to happen and what must happen, we have to get the best coordinators money can buy. And that's hands down. We have to get the best coordinators that money can buy that can put in a system that's fundamentally sound for the kids that we have. And clearly, our kids are running just as fast as everybody else. The key that we have, up in the Georgias and up wherever else, they had to build facilities for their kids to practice during the winter time. It's sunshine down here 24/7, baby. And that was the jump start we had on other programs. But then when other programs started building these bubbles and building these other practice facilities, that's when it started to, I guess, even up, if you will. But clearly, once we get this thing going and he gets these people in place and he gets this scheme going, I'm not saying year 1, but then you better start looking at us year 2 and beyond.
Gotcha. All right, fellas, I want to go to this real subject near and dear to my heart. And I know that, being when you're in the business of touching lives with kids and things like that, this whole, the aspect of the transfer portal and, man, how does it affect the high school kids? It is the greatest travesty going through this and the strength to go through it as a high school coach. Tink, definitely from your end and everything that I know that you do with Minority Coach Association, but more importantly, helping kids try to get to the next level and the strain that's on. And there's been times I've had to call and just lean on your shoulders because I'm mad. I'm frustrated. So God dog it, I had to come just, vent where it is with me. And I want to start with you on this subject because it's sensitive to my heart because I got to watch this stuff the way it's going down now with kids not getting the opportunity to find some place to play because of this transfer portal. But we're going to start with you and then you, Jonathan, and then we're going to close out with you, Joel.
Well, as a whole, let me say that you can look at the transfer portal and from two different lenses, two different perspectives. On one perspective, it's good with college football because it's still allowing players who are already in college to, if it don't work out, you're going to get a second chance. You can move on somewhere. Look at Jamie Williams. Went from couldn't get on the field, Ohio State, and now I feel like he got cheated. He best receiver in college football, in my opinion, hands down this year. So from that perspective, transfer portal is great. It created free agency, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing if it's managed the right way. From the high school perspective, I think it's a bad deal. I think it's a bad deal as a whole because unless you're that 5-star, that 4-star, or 3-star, or unless you're able to catch someone's eye, then the average high school kid is not going to have a opportunity to necessarily have as many opportunities as they had in the past. Because bottom line, everybody wants to transfer portal from Division 1 to FCS to Division 2 to NIL. Hell, even JUCO won't transfer. Even Division 3 trying to figure out how to get transfer, and they don't need all the damn scholarships. So in a nutshell, it's killing high school kid. But one thing I tell high school kids right now, some high school kids can't be entitled and say, "Hey, it's either D1 or bust, or it's this level of bust." I think every college now is a junior college now. Any college, because now in the past, you go to junior college, you can transfer. Here, if you go to a Division II school and you play your tail off, you can jump in the portal and take your shot to transfer up. Same thing at FCS, same thing at NIL school. If you ball out, somebody may take you. So it's how you see out the lens. Do I think it hurt high school kids? Of course it does. But high school kids have to be willing to be smart and play the game. It's going to push more than the junior colleges now. Can you go do the last chance you thing and take your shot? Because at the end of the day, you got to bet on yourself. If you're not willing to bet on yourself, and it's this entitlement stuff that so many high school kids are doing now, and parents, then so be it. Then, hey, get what? Go to school, have a great life, join a fraternity, and do what you do. But the transfer portal is not going nowhere. Do I like it? No, not really, but it ain't going nowhere. So you got to work within the lines to try to figure out how to maneuver it.
Sports fans that are watching at home, y'all just listening to Ahmad Tinker, president, owner, director of Minority Coach Association of Georgia, but more importantly, definitely a very positive role model for all us coaches in the Georgia area, Deep South, and just being able to help kids. So many kids are trying to help coaches as well as kids. Coaches that are trying to become high school coaches, trying to get an opportunity to get in front of college coaches and be interviewed. I applaud you on that because you've been doing it, and it's just expounding in ways that coaches learn how to be able to get in front of people that they never done before. So sports fans, that's who you're just hearing from, and believe me, he has his phone number is in all these college coaches cell phones at this time. So that's just the way it is, and I thank you for those words because people need to hear that. And sometimes from us coaches, they don't want to hear it. But when you can talk to them and let them know, hey, this is what it really is. That's what really matters. Jonathan, I want to go to you on that because your thought on the whole, when it was going on with all these high school kids not getting the ability, how can we, and especially for what you do and your thoughts on how you can do it, help them get the exposure, but, for them to understand that this is where we are now.
So I got a couple points to make. Number one, I'm not a coach, so I cannot relate like you guys can directly with these kids, on the field at the high school level, being a mentor and all that. But what Ahmad said is literally what I wrote down on my notes beforehand. Transfer portal equals free agency. That's all it is. It's an unregulated free agency. Well, how do you correct it? Because I think transfer portal is a good thing if regulated correctly. You have to put a system in place. A good example of this would be early signing period was the reason why a lot of these coaches got fired earlier and moved around, was for that recruiting purpose. It's the same thing when it comes down to the transfer portal. If you regulate it, put it in place, you know what I mean, during a certain time of the year, however they want to regulate it, it works out correctly. A bad example of this, in my opinion, is a kid like Quinn Ewers, who goes to Ohio State, signs a $1.4 million deal with, I think, Motorsports Autographs, right? $1.4 million. Never even attempts to see the field, right? He sits there, collects a paycheck. Then he's like, deuces, I'm going to Texas to sign another $1.2 million deal. I get it. He couldn't make money in Texas because in the state of Texas, where I'm at right now, no high school player can actually make money from name, image, or likeness. So I get it from a certain perspective, but at the same time, dude, you went up to Ohio State and took someone else's seat for no reason, knowing you weren't going to stay, in my opinion. And I get it. You're getting $1.4 million. But that's where, in my opinion, the bad side of transfer portal comes around. And, how do you correct it? Like I said, you have to have some type of regulation. The NCAA just threw the damn hands up and said, we want nothing to do with the NIL or any of this stuff going on now. And I don't know what point they're trying to prove. Maybe you guys know something. I don't know, but I know it's a bad situation all around right now. So, but as far as, like I said, from the coaching standpoint, I can't really say anything on it.
Well, I appreciate your point of view on it because you get a chance, and we've spoken things that you want to do to give more exposure to kids because that is, and I want you to, real quickly, just hit on that real quick before we go to Joel.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't write that down, so I didn't know you were going to bring that up. Anyways, one of the solutions is something I'm creating actually on my YouTube channel, and I'm starting a network around it, and that's going to be bringing in these kids, going to these. It doesn't have to be smaller high schools, but just any high school. Get with these kids because here's one thing about it: YouTube has created a massive platform for anybody to get exposure. I think we already know that. Look what we're doing right now, right? But anyways, when I'm starting next week is I'm starting to interview players from high schools out here in San Antonio and around the San Antonio area. And I'm talking about any of these kids. Bring in the film, whatever you want. We're going to plug it on the YouTube channel. We're going to talk about, your experiences, what you're going through, and how you're dealing with the entire process. And I feel like when you see more of that through the next couple of years, and kids are going to start to wisen up to realize that, hey, this exposure, it can be a bad thing, but in the grand scheme of things, you can turn this into a positive. You just have to do it correctly. And yes, but yeah, that's what I'm going to try to do. Actually, I'm starting it next week. So
awesome. You're the man. That and every little bit helps. Joel.
Oh yeah.
Want to go down to your area and down in the south side of Florida and how this whole recruiting, what is the temperature of how that affects these kids down there? Because the telltale sign always is everybody's trying to get out of Liberty City and everybody's trying to do better. The kids want to get out. But with the wealth of all the great players down there, how are you feeling those things down on your end?
Well, it's funny, Coach, that you bring this up tonight because I was actually talking about it with the my O-line coach, and it's a blessing and it's a curse. I think the blessing is that, like Coach said, Tinker said, kids are not locked in. If for whatever reason they want to go play, blah, 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 whatever, they have that opportunity to do so. Now, the caveat to that is, and I want to say I read something this season that some coaches that was accused of recruiting another team's player to the portal. I'm not sure. I got to go back and look at my notes somewhere. I think I read that somewhere. But that's go ahead.
Is that the USC deal?
You're talking about Rob Manning from Oklahoma. That's now with USC. He didn't sign with USC. He was still in the Oklahoma staff. Lincoln Riley left, but one of the players, Damani Jackson, tweeted out, "It's great to hear from you, Coach." Blah blah blah, and he's attaching Alex Grinch and then obviously Lincoln Riley to that tweet. So he's representing USC, and then turns around and also receives another tweet from a different player the next day they were recruiting, but he was with Bob Stoops. So that's probably what you're thinking of. Right.
Thanks a lot, Jonathan. I appreciate that. And but the really good thing about it brings exposure back to our 1AAs, our HBCUs. Yeah. I mean, they now have a seat at the table, if you will. You'll see on that second week in February, that second Wednesday, you may see those HBCU hats on the table now, because now they don't have to fight so hard against these D1 schools in terms of trying to get these kids. They don't have to fight that hard now, because now if the portal is taking away room for these high school kids coming out, now the HBCUs who didn't have a seat at the table originally, now they can throw their sauce in there. So it's a blessing and a curse.
Wow.
And boy, let me add, that really all it is, you just created the minor leagues of baseball, what you created.
Exactly.
I mean, that's all it is.
Yep.
Because I mean, these kids can go sign at Alabama State, Alcorn. They can go sign at Kennesaw for 1 year. They can get coached up, minor league. You know what? They're gonna be in transfer portal the next year. So it's just minor league. That's all it is.
That's it. That's it right there. That's it in a nutshell.
That's like
like Jonathan said, it's just a modern day free agency for college.
Yeah.
Well, I tend to think that just in thinking about that, piggybacking on what you all said, the kid, the number one JUCO safety in the nation, he started off at Bethune-Cookman. He left Bethune-Cookman, just like you said, Tank. He gambled on himself with the Hutch, became the number one safety in JUCO, junior college football. And now he's about to come out. I don't know where he committed to, but he was the top safety, and he gambled on himself. Now, he started at Bethune-Cookman. So he started off at an HBCU, okay, FCS, and gambled on himself, said, I thought I was better. He went to Hutch. Hutchinson up in Kansas. Now he's the #1 player in the nation as a JUCO. And now I don't know where he signed today. Maybe one of you all know. I want to say it was Auburn. I might be wrong, but he was one of the top in the nation, junior JUCO safeties. And he's had FCS time. So it's just like you said, Tank, you know, these kids are finding a way to make it work. To me, fellas, it looks like the NCAA was fearing that the Power Five's about to break off. And they said, hey, man, we just going to hey, you run the ship. You run the ship because we're about to lose you and we can't lose the money. And somebody got behind some closed doors and said, if you don't do this, we're going to have to make a move. So somebody called somebody's bluff or whatever the case may be. But now we have this and that's where we are. Final words on what you think is going to happen real quickly down the road here coming up on these next couple of days. Well, let me back up. I want to get everybody's prediction on the game, on who's going to be in the championship game. That's all I want. I want the championship game. I'm going to start with you, Joel. Then we're going to go you, Jonathan, and then Tank. We're going to finish it off with you. I want to know who's in the championship game and who wins. Go ahead, Joel.
Alabama, Georgia.
Oh, my gosh. What in the
world? Yeah, I got Alabama, Georgia as well in my prediction videos. And until Georgia beats Alabama, man, under Kirby Smart, 7 in a row, I'm going to have to take Alabama, obviously, being a homer.
There you go. Your turn, Tank.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to agree with Johnson. I got Alabama, Georgia. I just don't think Georgia can beat Bama. I think it's different.
That #9 special, isn't he? That #9 doing he doing stuff that all of other. It's just amazing watching. I think I agree with you all. I didn't officially come out with my prediction of the winner, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it tonight. I think it's just gonna be. I just don't think they're gonna be able to beat the master at it. I just think between the ears, he has a way of getting those guys that are already optimum level performance kids. Between the ears, he got a way to make them go. They have proven that they can hit another button. Even if you smack them around, there's another gear. Go ahead, Joel.
So what was so special about Jimbo Fisher beating them? What did he do different?
I think they had to have a humbling moment. I think Saban, in all the talking that he does and the raising of the spirits of domination, these kids were having so much success, it was coming too easy to them. So they needed something to wake them up collectively. Now, there was some on the team that, Will Anderson been saying all the time, man, we got to get our minds right or somebody going to beat us and somebody going to catch us. And they did. And that's all Jimbo Fisher said. He said, I was going to get you. He talked about it in the offseason. He said, I'm going to get him. And unfortunately, them kids made that game their season. Go ahead, Tank. I saw you about to say something.
Yeah, and I think too with Kirby. I mean, Saban raised Kirby. I mean, from LSU, that's like his birth son. Jimbo Fisher's he's an adopted son.
Oh man!
You know what? I'm gonna let you get me there one time, but my blood, I ain't gonna let you beat me. You ain't gonna beat me. You ain't gonna beat me until I walk away. I just don't. Different ball game.
Yeah, I'll say this, though. If the QB situation was different for Georgia and you just had a better quarterback, in my opinion, than Stetson Bennett, Georgia would be undefeated right now and they'd win the national championship hands down. That's just my opinion.
Boys didn't play.
But Donovan, JT Daniels does play in that game now.
And I'm talking about in the SEC championship game.
Okay, he'll play the national championship and he'll play against Michigan.
Oh, he is playing? So that's
just my prediction.
Okay, yeah, because I think Coach Bull Jones here can attest to this. Before the season started, I said Georgia's going to win the SEC. I had them going, to the playoffs. But I thought it would be JT Daniels. I didn't think it was going to be Stetson Bennett in this controversy. I don't know. I hate when you have QB controversy through an entire season like this. Fans screaming for JT, fans screaming about Stetson. I don't know.
That kind of stuff gets you fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, I still think it's the skill play. I don't think George is good on the back end. I don't think they're good on the perimeter on receiver wise. So I don't care if it's JT or it's Stetson. I just think Bama is still Bama. They don't have the elite level player that they had in the past, but they're better than what Georgia got.
And see, didn't I say that, Jonathan, about that backfire?
Yeah, you did.
I've been
say
saying
that.
it. See, that. Thank you, Tink. I've been saying it from day one. I said we did the show about, the front seven was the best in the nation, but the back 4 or 5, that's different. That's they're not at that level yet. I'm not saying they can't get there, but that Wizard of Oz number 9 is just throwing. He got eyes all around his head. And he has those situations that he works himself, and to hear that his father, hearing about him being a mental rehab, rehabilitation therapist. Come on, man. They talk about positive thoughts and thinking and prepare for sudden change all the time. And it's an amazing story. But at that, likewise, to see what is going on now with that game, I think it's going to be it's going to be a closer game next time.
Yeah.
I think that's going to happen, but I think Georgia's going to take an L, and it's going to be Alabama again, back to back. First time that's happened in a while, since I think maybe Florida, somebody's done that. But I think that's what's going to happen.
I think for Bama to beat them, they're going to have to pull a banana. Georgia's going to have to fall for the banana in the tailpipe again with the change of the quarterbacks and all that stuff. But I think, you don't have Michi now. Now you're going to start either Brooks or whatever the other kid's name, along with Williams. But my thing is, Kirby Smart is a solid coach. I think they solved that issue in the back seven. They run the right zones or whatever, and they do what they got to do. And they're gonna have to find a way to get 99 active and staying active, and being able to get his big butt off the field and to get a blow from in between plays.
Got to get him out of Golden Corral, then. Fellas, I enjoyed this time with you all, man. Thank you so much for giving me some time. Give me a good hour to talk some football with you, and get folks to hear different points of views on what's going on in college football. The coaching carousel, Coach Ahmad Tinker from Minority Coaches Association, director. Thank you so much for spending time. Brother, I like it. I always call you, God dog it. I'm always calling you about stuff, God dog it, because I just enjoy the coverage you have of trying to help things with coaches and kids. So I salute you and thank you for coming on the show.
I appreciate you, Bull, man. And anytime you need me, reach out and touch me. AT&T, baby.
You got that right, Joel. Hey, good to talk, boy. Look, we get to talk some football again, and that's what it's all about, man. I'll be down there soon. My son got to come to a baseball showcase down there in Fort Myers. But anyway,
okay, that's on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Hey, but Jonathan, the thing that you're pitching next week with the kids, I'd like to, if possible, get some kids on the show from this end, to be looked at or whatever. That'd be great.
Yeah, Coach Jones can give you my information. Just hit me up. We schedule these kids out, so for sure.
All right, awesome. That sounds good.
And Jonathan, thank you again. Once again, sports fans, it's Jonathan Lewis from College Football Podcast Show. You just make sure, as you see the crawl, make sure you subscribe to him. He has some fascinating shows that he puts together. It's just awesome how he gets these. Man, he's more than just analytical. I think he's coming out of that shell. Now he's over 1,000 subscribers, so he's got the muscles now. It's all good. But thank you, Jonathan, and thank you for coming on my show. And I'm always right around the corner, come dance with you at any time you want. But brother, once again, thank you for coming on the show.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Well, sports fans, if you enjoyed the show, thank you so much. Please make sure that you like and share and subscribe to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk. On behalf of my producer, Jeremiah Long, thank you so much, Jeremiah, for making this thing happen tonight. We enjoyed it. And once again, sports fans, thank you for watching 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk. We'll see you later.